actually consult about 100 plus companies about social media marketing and how social media can be an effective tool for their company. So she works with ESPN, X Games, House of Blues in Disney, Radio Disney, and she works with a lot of women's professional football teams too at the same time. And she is actually actually won the National Association of Professional Women Awards until the Executive Woman of the Year Awards in 2012. So right now I'm going to present to you Kristen Robinson.
Really quickly though, just say cheese, just wave, do whatever you want to do. Oh my God. Can you talk about on a college campus in like years? Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through a presentation really quickly because I want to open up for questions. One thing about social media is people have lots of questions. So, okay, technical challenge. Okay, so who am I and why should you even listen to me or even pay attention to me? So believe it or not, I am actually web design certified, I'm search engine marketing certified, I'm graphic design certified, and I'm web design certified. So I actually started my company like 3 years ago. I was a full service marketing company. So I actually went to a customer and said, okay, what do you want to do with your marketing? Do you need promotional items? Let's do your website. Like I did the full thing. Like pretty much the whole thing. So when a company said, I'm starting, I could be like, okay, let's get everything up and going and get everything going at once. So of course that lets me look at social media a whole different way. Most companies, when they go, oh, let's look at your logo, I'm like, you want to make that square? Because on Facebook it has to be square. If your logo's round, it doesn't look so hot. So I look at different things in the company and kind of suggest changes as I go. I did work for the House of Blues, so those of you guys are from the West Coast on Sunset Boulevard. There's a big corporate building and it's like 21 floors. I was on there. I worked for the Long Beach Aftershock, which is a women's professional football team. So I was their first intern. Radio Disney, X Games Los Angeles. Most of you guys probably know what that is, X Games Los Angeles. And Humble Casting was my mother's casting company. My mother's an actress, so I helped her with her casting company. And I was actually a sports agent for 3 years. So I helped college athletes who were usually Division III, Division II, actually help them go to the Canadian League or German Football League, whatever it may be. But after all that experience, it really didn't help me run my business when I started my own company. Even though I had ran so many other companies when it came to starting my own, it was a little bit harder. So I decided to jump on social media, and by the way, Twitter's my favorite. So I jumped on social media, and in the first 3 months, I was able to get almost $1 million in business in the first 3 months. Okay, so this is normally for businesses. So I basically help them figure out what to do next. I help them get more confidence using social media. I help them reach more customers. Another way of marketing business, and I help them step ahead their competition. I'm not going to do this right now. Okay, so most of you guys are in that social media age where you know what I'm talking about, but I just want to give you a quick tour of what some businesses don't really expect, and maybe I'll catch you off guard with some things. Determine what works best for most businesses. So I'm going to show you literally how to pick out social media profile for other businesses. Some tips, some actually real life examples of things that I've learned, and then my system that I help businesses with. Oh my gosh, okay, I'm technically challenged. So just, if you guys can hold your questions till we get to the end, that'd be great. So I'm going to take you on this tour. So you guys know what Facebook is. We are all on Facebook. Yes, nod your heads. Yeah, okay. So if you guys didn't know, Facebook country would be the #3 country in the world, and there's actually over 1 billion people on Facebook. And it's people like you that make businesses a little bit more challenging because you guys like to access Facebook on your mobile phone. And over 75% of users access Facebook with their mobile phone, not through a desktop. So for a business owner's perspective, it's a lot of changing, a lot of things trying to get it done as far as what do we need to do for the mobile device that's different? Because you guys access it on both ways. I don't know if you guys noticed, there's some changes that you need to make on a Facebook business page to make some of those mobile features more effective than appearing on the mobile phone device or any mobile device. So LinkedIn, does anybody know what that is? Yeah, okay. So for people like me, that is our home, that is our hub, that's where we are happy. 68% of LinkedIn users are decision makers. So those are actually the real CEOs, not the gatekeeper like the little receptionist or anything. The receptionist doesn't, make sure they connect with people. The actual CEO is on LinkedIn. So when you guys are getting ready to graduate, you want to look for a job, you definitely want to have a LinkedIn profile. Just a thought. 2 new people join LinkedIn every second. The average household income of a LinkedIn user is $109,000. So when I deal with a lot of clients like real estate or people want to do like second home investments, I always recommend a businesses to at least be on LinkedIn. And one thing about LinkedIn is people are twice as confident that the information they find on LinkedIn than anywhere else. And that's because it's a business-to-business social media network. So they believe it more than they hear things on CNN, the government shut down, all that stuff. We believe that more. Most people do that on LinkedIn than they believe in the actual news stations. So here's my real life example, my very first one. So Stephanie Edwards was actually a real estate agent in North Carolina, but her specific niche was military home buyers who wanted a second home. You can't imagine that type of niche. So that was her goal, was to actually find military people who already had a home that wanted a second home. And so that was kind of a challenge. So we put her on Facebook because that's what she wanted. But because LinkedIn has that great $109,000 user salary that I just mentioned before, it made more sense to put her on LinkedIn versus anything else. So what we did was, we put her on LinkedIn, but more specifically, I put her in a LinkedIn group specifically for real estate investors. And the reason was for real estate agents who did real estate investments. So she was in that group, and the reason why I put her in the specific group was because in that group, she was the only North Carolina agent in that group. The only one. So if you wanted to do investment home and you wanted to refer that out to another real estate agent, she was the only one in North Carolina. So we put her in that group, and within 2 weeks, she actually got a cash buyer from Virginia that wanted to invest in North Carolina. And so that's kind of how, as far as a strategy works, when working with businesses, it's really about what do they want their social media to do for them, and then exactly analyzing like how does that goal work and what social media network can really fit with that goal best, which I'll talk about in a second. So Twitter, that's my favorite. So Twitter is actually the #3 social media network. It's all about information and news, and for most people, it's easy to sell yourself as an expert in the industry. The reason why is because, I hate to say this, remember when Michael Jackson passed away? Do we all remember that? Okay, did you guys know Twitter shut down? No, okay. Believe it or not, at that moment, Twitter was the very first, only source that you knew about that before everybody else. Before ABC, CNN, everything. That's how fast information is spread on Twitter. And that's why with people who are professional guest speakers or want to be speakers or want to stand out very easily, I recommend Twitter. It's so easy to stand out, the viral effect is huge. But the thing is, because of the information and news, it's very fast-paced. So in the business world, the average response time for Facebook is about 24 hours. So if you have an inquiry and you want to respond to it, you got about 24 hours. LinkedIn, if you get a message, about 48 hours. Twitter, it's 4 hours. If you don't respond to that person within 4 hours, they're moving on to the next person, or the next person that can solve their issue. So when I talk about Twitter, it's a great social media network, but you have to stay on top of it. Google Plus. Do you guys know what Google Plus is? Yeah, it's like the new cool place to hang out. So Google Plus is what I call the VIP party that no one knows about. So not a lot of people, even though it is the #2 social media network, not a lot of people know about it. People are slowly getting there. Believe it or not, Google Plus users are mostly male. They're all 70%, and they're favored among tech industries. So for people who like to recruit or do anything like that, it's a great place to be. It's also a great place, I need to say it, for more outside the box users for Google Plus. Pinterest. Okay, I'm curious. How many of you guys are actually on Pinterest? I'm curious.
Only girls.
Wow. Okay. I need to say that's my age group, not yours. That's mine. Okay. So that's my age group. You guys do Instagram. I do Pinterest. So it's mostly my age group, 25 to 34. Obviously women, and they're twice as likely to be college educated. And the thing is, most Pinterest users have families. So more my demographic. The reason why Pinterest is huge is because people go to Pinterest to make a buying decision. They're already in the buying mood. And they're using Pinterest to do more research on a product that they've seen, heard, or have a peer recommendation for. So when it comes to Pinterest, it's a great place to be for businesses who have something hard to explain in words, or just have product in general, because people are already in that mode of I want to buy something. Instagram and Vine, that's you guys. So, well, there you go. So In case you guys didn't know, now that Instagram has introduced video, it's actually twice the engagement than photos. So a lot of people like video. By the way, if you don't know, by 2017, everything's going to be video, mostly, at least 75% of it, especially when it comes to mobile traffic. That's why Instagram and Vine are really huge, because of you guys. So in Instagram, it's 8,500 likes per second. That's how fast people are on Instagram, that's how fast they respond. And MTV is actually the most followed brand on Instagram, if you didn't know that. So Instagram, was it 15 seconds? I think it's 15 seconds. As far as the video, Vine is 6 seconds. So Vine is slowly growing, but a Vine branded video is 4 times more likely to be seen than a regular YouTube video. I don't know if you knew that. And 10 to 11 a.m. is the time that most Vine videos are posted. I don't know why, that's just the time it is. That's what people want to do. I don't know, just during that time. But Instagram and Vine, it's, like I said, you guys can understand, it's mostly the younger demographic. So I try to tell when I have clients, again, that tween crowd, obviously that's where they hang out. So just don't be there, but be there for a specific purpose. But also keep in mind of what type of product you're selling because you are in that tween crowd. So if you have if you're a real estate agent, I don't recommend being on Instagram. No offense, there's not going to be a 22-year-old that's going to buy a house. It's highly unlikely unless they are in the military, they've been deployed, and they came home with $80,000. It just doesn't happen that often. But when it does, it's great to be there, but it's like lightning striking. It doesn't happen often. So when I talk to them, it's like, do you have things that crowd likes? And if you don't, it's a great place to test it. All right, so which one?
So can I ask a very quick question?
Yes.
So where does YouTube come in? Would that be, would you consider that part of the package or not?
YouTube is a very interesting social media network. So because of, Google owns YouTube. We all know that, right? Okay, so we know that. So the thing about YouTube is that right now it's a great place to be if you are trying to, let's say, educate people. If you're a trainer or a consultant, YouTube is where you need to be because people go, how to XXX, ABC, whatever it is. So YouTube is great for those type of businesses who want to do that. However, there is a little however thing, is that because of the whole, how would I say this, black hat SEO, where you can just download stuff off of YouTube, it's a little trickier. And so with them catching up with what they want to do and doing that, that's going to come into effect as well. And then you got Google Plus, and that helps with SEO. So I tell a lot of businesses, if you're going to be on YouTube, then make sure you have those great videos, but also for the SEO factor, because obviously Google owns YouTube, they own Google Plus. When someone says, how do you or can you find, that's going to help with the search engine ranking. So as far as picking the best social media network, here's my recommendations. You always want to pick one because you don't want to waste time. There's nothing worse than being on the social media network that doesn't work. You get frustrated, you miss opportunities, and you want high quality customers. But the biggest thing I always tell people is, what do you want out of it? Like, what do you want it to do? Do you want visibility? Do you want people to go, oh my gosh, I saw your video, it was awesome? Like, do you want them to do that? Because that's happened to some of my clients where they're walking to a shopping store and they're like, wait, I saw your video, PR, and you're like, wait, what video? How do you just see? And I'm like, your social media, that's what it does. It's visibility. So do they want more visibility? Or do they want to change, sales and leads? Or do they just want the SEO factor? So what do they want their social media to do for them? So obviously, you look at who you're dealing with, your clients. If you look at your clients, they're all like between 18 to 25, then I'm probably not going to see them be in Google Plus. I'll say Instagram and Vine. If most of your consumers are going to, in the 25 to 34 range, and then you find they're mostly women, then you need to be on Pinterest. So you have to look at the demographic. Some businesses, believe it or not, are lucky to be both B2B and B2C, business to customer and business to business. Some are actually lucky enough to do that. And in that case, they got a double whammy trying to figure out where they need to be. But most businesses can figure out exactly where their focus is. My biggest thing is, how much time do you have? See, as a business owner, you don't get that much time. You got to do other stuff. You're the IT person, the marketing person, the customer service person, the accounts payable, accounts receivable, the bookkeeper. You don't have a lot of time. So if you don't have a lot of time, don't be on Twitter. It doesn't make sense. You only get 4 hours to respond, and you don't have time for that. So I always ask, how much time can you put in? Is it 3 hours, 2 hours? What can you do? All right, so here are my social media tips and what I've learned. This is the best part. So this guy here, So, little background, Brian is actually a business coach. And you would think, being a business coach, that LinkedIn would be the place for him, right? You guys heard me just say, if you're business to business, LinkedIn is where you should be. Well, not really. You see, what happened was, Brian wanted more speaking engagements and he wanted more visibility. He was a business coach, but most of the time he got his clients from speaking engagements. So it made sense. So, but the thing is, he also had a lot of great information to share. He was getting ready to actually publish a book. So I was like, okay, great. So you got lots of stuff to say, which makes you a great speaker. So what happened was, I said Twitter, and trust me, butt, kick, scream, whatever you want to call it, little 3-year-old throwing a temper tantrum. And, but the thing was, as he was tweeting, a key influential person in his field liked what he had. Now, it just so happened that this person had 10,000 Twitter followers. So, of course, he retweeted everything my client said. So what do you think that did for him? He gained more followers because he retweeted his stuff to 10,000 people. And of course, because of that, he got a bigger network and got more visibility. So let me break this down for you what happened. This is Oprah. We all know Oprah, right? Okay, yes, we know who Oprah is, right? Okay. You said, oh my gosh, you know who Oprah is? Okay, so let's just pretend that this is the influencer, okay? We're just going to pretend Oprah's an influencer, right? So just for time constraints, if she really had 10,000 followers, and these 3 followers each had 200 followers, and they retweeted it and got to their 200 followers, that's already 2 million people that have been reached. That is the power of a retweet, in essence. So if my client is saying, hey, here's some good business advice, and a key influencer says, oh, let me retweet that to all 10,000 of my followers, which you know Oprah has way more than that of any influencer. And of course, the average Twitter person has more than 200 followers. He already reached 2 million people, so of course, he got 3 speaking engagements within 2 weeks. He wanted to be viral. He wanted to have visibility, and that's what Twitter can do. So that's just a breakdown of what happened to him. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a real-life example. So, Coastal Bash. This was actually my organization back in North Carolina, and just so you know, BASH stands for Business and Social Hour. What was it? So, believe it or not, 2 business owners, myself and another business owner, got together because we wanted more business. I was new to North Carolina. I was there for like 6 months. I'm like, I need some business. And I was like, I can make things happen. I can market, but I don't know anybody in this place. And she was like, that's great, because I don't know how to market, but I know everybody. I'm like, great, we'll be a perfect team. So we paired them together, and we made actual networking event at the second Thursday of the month. What we didn't know was that it was going to slowly turn into a really big community, a very tight-knit community of like-minded entrepreneurs. That was just something that took us off guard. We were like, hey, if we start this event thing and business owners come, we can get them to pay us and make money. That's really what we were thinking. I'll be serious. We were selfish. But the thing was, it actually expanded to nearby cities, and our invite list grew. But the thing is, we held our first event in May 2010 at the Jacksonville USO. So when we started out, we were really small, okay? The USO is like smaller than this room. Can you imagine, smaller than this room? We got fruit, maybe some scones. Okay, it's 5:30, and we're all just kind of like, all right, do I know you? No. How are you? You know, I mean, not very good starting out. So we decided to actually have real marketing materials. Oh my goodness. So these are our business cards that we had. Me and the co-founder had our own. We had the dates on them, and we had networking tips on the back of our business cards. So when we invited people to the event, they actually go, oh, there's networking tips. I was like, yes, you can come and not be afraid of how to network. Here you go. And obviously, being the marketing person and all my background, we designed flyers. And it was really simple. I'm not explaining these in a minute, but each event after our first one actually became sponsored, which came great opportunity. And of course, we had a website. So you guys can't see in the back, but those of you guys are close. We actually had sponsors. We had sponsors like Marriott. We had Fairfield. We had Texas Roadhouse. You guys are familiar with that. It's on the East Coast. It's a great place. Drop off the bone with it. It's a really great place to go on the East Coast. You know, and then Blimpie. I don't know if you guys heard of Blimpie. It's like Subway on the East Coast as well. But also, you know, smaller businesses like Jersey Mike's and other regional places. Well, what happened? So what happened was, because we actually had offline and online marketing working together, because that's how social media works, it works together, we're actually able to obtain sponsors and create sponsorship packages. So what we did was we actually had businesses going, okay, here's the deal, we can't afford to put this on, so you're going to be the location sponsor, we're going to have it at your place, and then you're going to pay for beverages, and you're going to do that. And you're going to pay for food, because that's what we do. And then since you don't have a storefront, you're going to be the raffle prize sponsor. And we divided those responsibilities up. And so because of that, we had different people who were willing to help out, but also with our marketing gave them more exposure for their business, because not only did we have flyers, we had websites, and we had social media. So we were able to leverage and say, hey, Marriott, we know you're corporate, but you don't have a local presence. So here's the deal. We got all these Twitter followers. We got all these Facebook likes. You want to host our event for free? We're not going to charge you. They go, that's awesome, because we need more people to buy our rooms. They're like, you do. We know that. We love to do statistics. So that was helpful. And also allowed us to reach a wider audience than where we were at. See, we were in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you guys don't know, it's like this small, okay? It's a really, really small place. And what ended up happening was, because we were able to reach out with social media and use it electronically, we were attracting people all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina. Just to let you know, from Raleigh, North Carolina to where we were was a 2-hour drive. So we had people coming all the way, driving 2 hours for a 2-hour networking event, and spending the night at Marriott, obviously, and then driving back home. That's how good our event was. People were willing to drive 4 hours round trip just for this 2-hour event. Obviously, we had increased attendance, and we had more sponsorship opportunities. So believe it or not, we actually attract the attention of Staples. You guys know what Staples is? Yeah, Staples came to us and said, here's the deal. We're looking at this event, and we need more people. So we were wondering, do you guys have locations in other places? We're like, no, it's just this one. We're only here, this is what we got. And Staples said, okay, here's the deal. We're going to give you $20,000, and we're going to give you $100 in gift cards every month. All we want you to do is mention us on social media and hang our banner. We can do that. $20,000, and we said, yeah, we can do that. That sounds great. So we were able to do that. And then, of course, the best part was, when you have that type of backing, you can get, better stuff like better food. You can start, having events for free. So because of that, we started attracting other better people. And believe it or not, our attendees were making money. We had one attendee literally make $100,000 just from going to our event twice. That's how good our event was. So when you have people talk about, I went to this event, and let me tell you, I got 2 new clients, I made $100,000, you're like, oh, where's that at? Where's that at? Where are you going? And so we were able to do that. And because of that, our attendees are what you call engaging. So when I had people go into our event, they were looking at Facebook, they were going to our Twitter, they were looking at the emails. Our emails, we had an email open rate of 75%, which I don't know if you guys know, that industry average is 2%. So 80% of all the people who signed up on our email list opened it every time. That's how good it was. And that's how we were able to combine the offline and the online together, so that people were engaged, wanted to know what we were doing. So what happened? Well, obviously we made money. That's the best part, right? So we were able to get sponsors like Staples. We were able to do those types of things. And we started to make money. And the best part was I could hire assistants and actually concentrate on this. And my co-founder actually quit her business and did this full time. That's how much money we were able to make. We actually started a volunteer program. I'm going to show you one of our volunteers. But one of the things we did was, people were like, you know what? You two are making way too much money because you're the face of this business. And we're like, yes, we are. And they said, well, we want a piece of that. We're like, well, why don't you be a volunteer? We'll recognize you. We'll pitch you on our marketing, and that's going to help your business. But the thing is, we asked you to help us step up and set up things. And they said, okay. And our volunteers actually made twice as much revenue as our attendees did, which, of course, made everybody happy. And we became the lead networking event in coastal North Carolina. So we had people all the way from Raleigh, North Carolina. We had people from Morehead City, which was a 45-minute drive. We had people from Wilmington come down and do that as well. And company headquarters from Los Angeles and New York found us. So we had companies, because Jacksonville is a very government-type place. So we had people from Los Angeles going, hi, we're going to send our company representative down there. Actually, her name is blah, blah, blah. How do you register? We're like, look, just go to Eventbrite. We're not a big corporate operation here. Just go to the website, pay your little $5, and register your person. Like, we don't do corporate RSVPs over the phone here. But we actually had companies from Los Angeles, New York, Washington, D.C., Detroit, wherever you wanted to do business with the government. We're like, we're going to send our representative to your event. They need to meet more people. They need to make connections. We're like, oh, that's great. Franchise opportunities. We actually had a business owner, 2 business owners in Los Angeles go, hey, we want to open up a franchise. We're like, that's great. We're not ready for that. We'll get back to you on that, though. But yeah, we actually had people contact us and say, are you guys a franchise? I'm like, no, not really. But like I said, we were able to leverage our email marketing, social media marketing, and that was the key, was making sure all that happened. So let me tell you what happened with social media. So over here on the top, if you actually Googled Coastal Bash, which you probably would, but if you did, it would be up here. This is our Twitter account, and these 3 links are our website. What we found in doing our keyword research, we found people literally Google business networking in coastal North Carolina or business networking in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And if you look here, which is BNI, which is cool. Some other businesses, Chamber of Commerce, we would come up number 4 on the first page of Google. And to be honest, that's our website. 2 down was our Twitter account. Because I don't know if you know, but every time you tweet on Twitter, Google indexes that. Every time you put information on Facebook, Google indexes that. So the social media was helping with our SEO greatly, and that's how people were able to find us. So they would just Google like whatever network event was available. So after all that, what did I really learn? Well, I learned the key to social media is being social. You can't just like do stuff, you gotta talk and it has to integrate too. So we also know to keep it short. We did a lot of photos. Video wasn't really popular at the time we did this, was 3 years ago. But we did notice we did more videos. We shared information. That was a big key for us. We shared a lot of information saying, this is how you network, this is how you meet people, this is how you talk to people. And doing that, people were like, I want to go to a place where people know how to do that. I don't want to go to an event where people are going to spam me and tell me buy my stuff. We obviously posted daily and frequently because people wanted to know what we were doing. But we found also that helped with our search engine optimization. And we also tried different times that works. We noticed for us, because business owners were our target, 9 a.m. worked best. So my favorite, you guys probably don't know who Mari Smith is, but if you did, you know her quote, content is king, but engagement is queen, and she rules the house. So Mari Smith basically says that what you put on social media is important, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't engage. And we noticed that right on with our participants, they were engaging. They opened up emails, they commented on Facebook, they were retweeting on Twitter, replying back to us on Twitter, mentioning us. And so everything we put on there really didn't mean anything unless people were sharing it, making our event more popular. And that's what we realized. We also made sure we had calls to action telling people what to do. So if we put a post on Facebook with our event, we were like, hey, RSVP at this link. Make sure you pay. That's great that we're saying a networking tip where we would tell people exactly what we wanted them to do, and that really helped. If we didn't know what to post, we started asking. Some of our key attendees, we would just start asking them to share stuff on our Facebook. We're like, hey, why don't you send us some information, and we'll share it on our Facebook. And so we started realizing what people liked and what they wanted. And we noticed photos was a big thing that people loved about our Facebook page. They loved the photos. On Twitter, they loved the information. So we just made sure if that's what they liked, that's what we keep doing. So this is Veronica, just to put everything together in perspective. Veronica was one of our volunteers. And when she started volunteering, she got more visibility offline, which makes sense. But one of the things that I love about her, and she is my best client, putting it together. So she volunteered a lot offline for our organization. She's actually a jewelry person, so she made sure that whenever there was a fashion show in our town, that she was the chief jewelry person. Like, everybody wore her stuff. So that people go, oh, that's cute. Yeah, you have to buy the outfit. If you want it to look this great, you have to buy the jewelry that goes with it. So she made sure that she was always in front of people offline, but online as well. So the good thing was she was able to connect those worlds by having pieces of her jewelry saying, I'm going to be at this place. These people are going to wear my jewelry. Go to this place, and only making sure that worked together. Also, she discovered what her fans liked on Facebook. One of the things her fans loved are her photos of her jewelry. That's what they love. So she'd be on Facebook sharing sneak peeks of what they could purchase. And the best part is, within minutes, her jewelry would be sold. It never even hit the website, but it'd be sold. And people were like, I want that. He goes, oh, here's the thing. I hand make the beads. So when I make something, it's only one. I can't duplicate that exact same thing. But I can make it in green for you. Okay. So the next thing she knew during that sneak peek and actually coming up with a tactic, she was able to sell triple the amount of jewelry on Fridays, and then she started expanding that idea to other days, which was really, really cool. So here's my cool little system that I've put together. So when I finally meet with clients, the first thing I do is I'm looking for the best social media network available for them. What's the best thing for them? Because that's where we need to start. Where are you at? What are we going to do? The next thing I do is I train them. So now that you know where you're at, let's figure out how to use the tools, because that makes sense. Because you have a bunch of tools. Some of you guys are hardcore at Lowe's. Doesn't make sense to go buy a wrench and you're like, oh, how do I use this thing? Doesn't make sense, okay? You buy it, but now you gotta figure out how to use it. So the next thing I teach them is how to use it. And then we come up with a strategy. You need a map, okay? You can't just pick it out and go, oh yeah, I can do it. No, that's what gets people in trouble. You need to have a strategy. You gotta have a map, because then if you don't have a map, you don't know where you're going. And then you don't know if it works. So the next thing you need to do is you need to come up with a strategy. Then you have to plan that strategy. This is my favorite part of my system. where does this all fit in your daily time constraint? Because as a business owner, you got about they have about maybe a spare hour in a day. So my job, and this is the hardest step for me, is to actually figure out how can we implement all those things you have to do that we set in your strategy to match your daily, whatever that free hour is, without going over and distracting you, but also making you effective. So I have to find little itty bitty tasks that they can do within their existing day and make it work for them, which is kind of challenging. And then after we got all those things, they're good. Because at this point, they've picked out the right one for them, we've been through the training, they have a strategy and a map, and I've also made it very easy for them to actually map out these different tasks that they need to do every day. So they can enjoy it, it's kind of like a system that they can just maintain. All right, that is it. So, well, if you guys want to get my business, if you guys want to ask me any questions later, afterwards, I have my business cards up here. Be happy to keep in contact with you guys if you have any questions, anything I can do to help. Just let me know, and obviously I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. Okay, not Facebook, okay? Thank you.